Society rarely grasps the immense strength required to thrive independently, particularly for women who choose to walk this path alone. They murmur judgments from the shadows, scrutinizing her decisions and presuming she must be damaged, isolated, or cursed in matters of the heart. Yet, what if I revealed that she represents the most formidable presence in any gathering? What if I disclosed that her independence isn't frailty, it's enlightenment? Continue reading, because the final revelation will transform how you perceive strength, self-value, and human connection eternally. 5A Solitude is Power. A vast distinction exists between solitude and loneliness, though society persistently muddles these concepts. When a woman elects to exist without romantic entanglement, beyond the turbulence, theatrics, and mayhem, observers assume something ails her. The reality, this woman has finally found harmony within herself. She has arrived at a place where tranquility outweighs fleeting companionship. She requires no validation from another to confirm her worthiness. This knowledge already resides within her. That certainty marks the genesis of authentic power. When you cease pursuing affection for validation and begin existing from completeness, transformation occurs. You no longer require another to make you whole because wholeness already defines you. She chooses herself first. A woman embracing solitude isn't evading romance. She's avoiding foolishness. She harbors no bitterness, only betterment. Enhanced at recognizing her value, strengthened in establishing limits, superior at selecting serenity over turmoil. This represents someone who discovered that existence will attempt to claim fragments of her essence if permitted, so permission is permanently revoked. Instead, she awakens in harmony, prepares her coffee in stillness and radiates joy, not because someone sent morning greetings, but because pride fills her regarding her evolution. Her dawns become sacred ceremonies, golden rays filtering through window coverings, vapor ascending from her cherished cup, melodies drifting softly, or perhaps simply the essence of quietude permeating her space. Its power emanates from this solitude, an enchantment born from self, knowledge profound enough to discover contentment in her own presence. Every aspect of her existence flows with purpose. Her moments, her environment, her vitality, none are available for whoever requests them. She comprehends their exact cost, the emotional burden, the mental drain, the gradual dissolution of identity that occurs when excessive giving meets unappreciative recipients. She refuses this payment again. Years, perhaps decades, were required to reach this destination, this understanding that affirming herself frequently demands declining others. Now that arrival is complete, retreat becomes impossible. Her dwelling mirrors this newfound lucidity. Surfaces remain uncluttered by relationship remnants. Instead, they showcase art she treasures, photographs sparking happiness, mementos of genuinely significant moments. Her bookcase narrates a growth story. Novels about women discovering their paths, memoirs celebrating resilience, journals containing her chaotic script as she processed heartbreak and mended ancient wounds. Even her wardrobe embodies soul extension, garments generating empowerment, hues reflecting moods, materials encouraging easy breathing. Everything surrounding her serves purpose, whether practical or purely beautiful. Nothing exists merely to occupy vacant spaces. Despite this intentionality, warmth radiates from her core. People frequently mistake independence for coldness, yet those knowing her intimately understand the heat beneath the surface. When she opens her world to you, authenticity follows. Whether sharing laughter over self-prepared meals, suggesting podcasts that shifted her perspective, or sitting silently beside your tears, sometimes silence communicates more powerfully than words. Genuineness prevails. She gives completely when choosing to give, rendering every interaction meaningful. You'll never discover her feigning interest in something or someone from duty. Presence indicates genuine desire to be there. This doesn't grant immunity from loneliness. Naturally not. Some evenings, after dishes are cleaned and darkness envelops the apartment, except for laptop screen illumination, she might browse social platforms, witnessing couples sharing laughter or friends surrounding bonfires. Momentarily, doubt infiltrates. Shouldn't greater desire exist? Then remembrance returns. Wanting more doesn't equal accepting less. Love shouldn't fit awkwardly into existence like painful footwear. It should glide effortlessly, comfortably, enhancing everything without overshadowing anything. Until that discovery, or until deciding it's unnecessary, contentment reigns exactly where she stands. Her confidence intimidates certain individuals, especially men expecting her to follow outdated behavioral scripts for women. They're accustomed to pursuing, repairing, rescuing. Yet she requires no salvation. Actually, she's likely rescued herself more frequently than anyone else could. When they inquire why she hasn't located the one, she shrugs, responding, "Perhaps I already have." Truth resonates in this statement. She has chosen herself first, becoming her own armored knight, her own storm sanctuary. Once you experience that variety of unconditional self-love, everything transforms. Hape boundaries are non-negotiable for her now, not from malice, but necessity. She's witnessed toxic patterns festering unchecked, how bitterness accumulates, how trust crumbles, how both parties suffer irreparable damage. Therefore, she establishes limits early and maintains them firmly. No disappearing acts permitted, no games, no half-hearted commitments disguised as effort. Inability to respect her rules ensures brief presence in her orbit. For those who do respect and genuinely appreciate her strength, remarkable discovery awaits. Loyalty flows through her core. Once trust is earned, she'll remain steadfast through adversity. Simply don't expect self-compromise along the journey. The path to this point wasn't simple. Days existed when self-doubt emerged, questioning whether solitude truly surpassed tolerating mediocrity. Breakups left her wounded. Friendships tested patience. Family members urged settling before time expired. Through everything, she returned to one central truth: she deserves better. Not eventually, not later, but immediately, today, every single day. This realization became her beacon, guiding toward choices honoring her spirit rather than diminishing it. Now she navigates existence differently. She walks taller, speaks clearer, laughs with greater volume. She accepts risks, not reckless ones, but calculated leaps designed to advance her closer to aspirations. Perhaps launching a business, traveling solo to countries where her language isn't spoken, or finally pursuing that hobby always discussed but never prioritized. Whatever the endeavor, she approaches it with courage and curiosity. To her, failure isn't failure, it's feedback. Each misstep teaches something new about herself, reinforcing her belief that growth emerges from discomfort. People notice this about her. Strangers compliment her composure. Colleagues admire her work dedication. Friends envy her ability to remain grounded when life becomes chaotic. What they don't always perceive is the behind the scenes work: late nights, journaling, therapy sessions helping unpack years of conditioning, affirmations whispered to mirror reflections on mornings when self-doubt threatened infiltration. Becoming today's version of herself required effort, vulnerability, and willingness to confront difficult truths. Yet she wouldn't trade it for anything. Living alone doesn't mean existing in isolation. It means creating meaningful existence, surrounded by people and experiences aligning with your highest self. It means understanding that love isn't diminished by independence. It's enhanced by it. A partner, if and when she chooses one, won't complete her. He'll complement her, entering a world already flourishing, meeting a woman already whole. That dynamic, built on mutual respect and admiration, proves far more fulfilling than anything rooted in insecurity or dependency. So no, she's not waiting for love. She's building a foundation strong enough to support it upon arrival. Until then, she's perfectly content dancing in her kitchen, reading under soft blankets, exploring new cities, cheering on friends, and nurturing the relationship she values most, the one with herself. After all, a woman who chooses herself first isn't merely surviving, she's thriving. And that's the greatest love story of all. She doesn't settle. Here's what people fail to realize: that woman you observe dining alone at the corner table, sipping wine with a book in hand. She could have 10 men flooding her phone right now. 10 messages awaiting responses. 10 voices competing for her attention. 10 variations of, "Hey, are you busy?" She isn't responding, not from game playing, but because none feel worthwhile yet. None align with her identity or destination. She's not single due to inability to attract a man. She's single because she refuses the wrong one. Society might whisper that solitude indicates something missing, but she knows better. Loneliness isn't a defect. Settling is. She refuses to exchange comfort for chaos, security for uncertainty, self-respect for affection scraps. Love shouldn't leave you questioning your worth. It should confirm it. Until someone arrives ready to accomplish exactly that, she'll remain precisely where she is, whole, independent, unapologetically herself. Love isn't foreign to her. She's experienced its heights and endured its depths. She's been swept away only to crash harder than before. She's given heart pieces away only to watch them mishandled, misunderstood, or completely discarded. Those experiences didn't shatter her. They constructed her. They taught her trust, fragility, boundaries, delicacy, and true partnership's rarity. Now, when contemplating love, she doesn't think about butterflies or grand gestures. She thinks about respect, about alignment, about two people choosing each other daily, even when the spark feels dimmer than usual. Anything less than that, not interested. She's not fearful of love. Fear plays no role. What she fears is repeating old patterns, losing herself in someone else's orbit, allowing desperation to override discernment. She's witnessed too many women abandon dreams, silence voices, shrink themselves to fit relationships that never deserved them initially. That won't be her story. If anything, she's more courageous than most because she's willing to wait for the connection that feels like home, not obligation. The kind that amplifies her light instead of dimming it. Courage, after all, isn't blind, deep, and jumping. It's knowing your worth and demanding others see it too. Loneliness creeps in sometimes, certainly. Late nights when the house feels too quiet. Holidays when everyone else appears paired off. Moments when she wonders if she's asking for too much. Then she remembers wanting more doesn't mean accepting less. She deserves someone matching her energy, meeting her halfway, viewing her ambition as an asset rather than threat. Someone celebrating her victories and comforting her losses without needing to control either. Until then, she'd rather sit with solitude than settle for dissatisfaction. This mindset baffles some people. Friends ask why she hasn't put herself out there more. Family members hint that maybe she's being too picky, too stubborn, too idealistic. Even well-meaning coworkers joke about her standards as if expecting mutual respect and emotional maturity is somehow unreasonable. She doesn't let their opinions shake her resolve. She knows what they don't, that love shouldn't require compromise in the areas that matter most. You shouldn't have to choose between passion and peace, between excitement and stability, between feeling desired and feeling valued. True love provides both. Anything else is just noise. Her confidence intimidates some men, especially those accustomed to women chasing, pleading, bending over backward to maintain their interest. These men expect her to follow the same rules, to text first, make excuses for their behavior, mold herself into whatever shape makes them comfortable. She doesn't operate that way anymore. She attracts, doesn't chase. Her presence alone draws people in. The way she laughs freely, listens intently, speaks honestly. No pretense, no game playing, no hidden agenda, just authenticity. While some men run from that level of transparency, those who stay are golden. Through how she carries herself, she sends a clear message. I'm enough. Enough without validation. Enough without explanation. Enough without apology. This energy radiates outward, creating magnetic pull toward people who appreciate it. People understanding that loving her means respecting her autonomy, supporting her growth, and meeting her on equal footing. When someone finally steps into her world under these terms, It won't be because she needed saving. It will be because they both recognize the beauty of building something together. When that person arrives, they won't complete her. Completion implies incompleteness, and she's already whole. This person will complement her, bringing qualities she admires, perspectives she values, strengths balancing her weaknesses. Together, they'll create something greater than the sum of its parts. But here's the thing, she's not holding her breath for this scenario. If it happens, wonderful. If it doesn't, equally wonderful. She's learned that fulfillment doesn't hinge on another person. It starts within. So she continues living life fully, unattached to outcomes. She travels solo, explores hobbies, invests in friendships, builds her career, nurtures her spirit. Every experience adds layers to her character, making her even more magnetic to the right kind of partner. If no partner ever arrives, that's fine too. She's already living the kind of life most people dream of, a life marked by purpose, passion, and profound self-love. After all, a woman who doesn't settle doesn't just attract better relationships. She becomes one. Kwafi, peace is non-negotiable. She's learned something most people never do. Peace is priceless. Once you taste a quiet life, truly experience it, let it settle into your bones, you don't trade it for anything. Not for drama, not for ego, not even for fleeting passion moments that leave you more exhausted than exhilarated. Peace isn't just noise absence. It's alignment presence, knowing who you are and what you need to thrive. Once you've built a life rooted in self-respect, routine, and clarity, there's no turning back. For her, relationships aren't about filling voids or chasing thrills. They're about enhancing the foundation she's already created. Anything less feels like stepping backward, unraveling threads she worked so hard to weave together. Relationships bringing confusion. Cut. No second guessing, no excuses. No, maybe he'll change. Situationships draining energy. Gone. She doesn't have time for half-hearted commitments or emotional roller coasters disguised as connection. A woman who lives alone has cultivated unshakable reverence for her space. Not just the physical walls around her, but the mental sanctuary within. Her home reflects this philosophy. It's clean, but not from perfection obsession. Every surface wiped down, every pillow fluffed, every corner dusted, all done with intention. Each chore becomes a ritual, a way of honoring herself and the environment she's built. She knows that clutter breeds chaos, both externally and internally. When her surroundings are orderly, her mind follows suit. Power exists in walking into a room and feeling calm wash over you, knowing everything has its place, including you. Her space isn't sterile or impersonal. It's warm, inviting, alive with little touches, making it uniquely hers. Candles flicker on shelves. Plants stretch toward sunlight. Books line tables waiting to be revisited. This is her world, carefully curated and fiercely protected. Because here is the truth. Peace isn't just a mood. It's a life path. It's a decision made daily, sometimes hourly, to prioritize what nurtures your spirit over what depletes it. For her, this means setting boundaries without apology, saying no when something feels off, walking away from situationships that promise excitement but deliver exhaustion. Protecting her peace isn't selfish, it's survival. People often misunderstand this, calling her difficult or too serious, but she doesn't care. Difficult is trying to coexist with toxicity. Serious is refusing to compromise your well-being for someone else's comfort. She's neither of those things. She's deliberate, intentional, unapologetically herself. If someone wants to step into her world, they must understand the rules, or rather the rhythm. They must come bearing respect, calm, and emotional maturity. Drama won't fly here. Passive aggression won't slide unnoticed. Half-truths and mixed signals will get shown the door faster than they arrived. This isn't negotiable. If you want access to her heart, you also inherit responsibility for safeguarding it. That's what love looks like to her. Two people committed to protecting each other's peace, not disrupting it. Yet, despite these firm boundaries, she's not closed off. Quite the opposite. Those lucky enough to earn their way into her inner circle find depth of connection few ever experience. Conversations flow effortlessly because they're built on mutual understanding and trust. Laughter comes easily because there's no underlying tension or hidden agendas. Even silence feels rich, comfortable, companionable. In her presence, people instinctively lower their guards because they sense safety. Safe to be vulnerable, safe to speak honestly, safe to simply exist as they are. That's the gift of being with someone who prioritizes peace. It spills over into everyone around them. She didn't arrive at this clarity level overnight. It took years of trial and error, missteps and lessons, heartbreaks and breakthroughs. She's been in relationships where chaos reigned supreme, where communication broke down, where resentment festered, where love felt more like a battlefield than a refuge. Each experience taught her something new about herself, about what she would tolerate and what she wouldn't. Eventually, she realized that peace wasn't something she could outsource to another person. It had to start within her, radiating outward until it became the filter through which she viewed every interaction, every decision, every potential relationship. Now she moves through the world differently. She carries herself with quiet confidence, saying, "I know my worth, and I won't settle for anything less." Strangers might mistake this for aloofness, but those who take time to truly know her see the softness beneath the strength. They see how deeply she values authenticity, how much she cherishes balance, how fiercely she protects the sanctuary she's built for herself and anyone fortunate enough to share it. Some days the outside world tries to creep in. Work stress, societal expectations, family dynamics, all of it threatens to disrupt her equilibrium. But she's learned tools to combat these intrusions. Meditation helps center her thoughts. Journaling allows her to process emotions before they spiral. Nature reminds her of the bigger picture, grounding her in gratitude. These practices aren't luxuries, they're necessities. They're part of the infrastructure keeping her peace intact, even when life gets loud. When people ask her secret to living alone happily, she smiles and says, "It's simple. I choose peace every single day." What she doesn't say, but what they eventually realize, is that choosing peace isn't passive. It's active. It requires vigilance, discipline, and courage. It means saying goodbye to people and situations that threaten to disturb your harmony. It means standing firm in your convictions, even when others call you stubborn or unrealistic. It means trusting yourself enough to believe that you deserve nothing less than a life filled with serenity and joy. In the end, protecting your soul looks like this: creating a life so aligned with your values that anything incongruent feels jarring. Like this woman who wakes up each morning in a space she loves, surrounded by energy she's cultivated, moving through a world she navigates on her own terms. She's not waiting for permission to live fully. She's already doing it one peaceful moment at a time. She has standards, not walls. Some people look at a woman like her and assume she's guarded, that her standards are walls meant to keep others out. They couldn't be more wrong. She isn't closed off. She's just careful, thoughtful, deliberate. Her heart isn't barricaded. It's protected, yes, but not imprisoned. There's a difference between building walls and setting boundaries, and she knows it well. Walls block everything: the good, the bad, the potential for connection. Boundaries, on the other hand, let in only what aligns with your truth. They create space for growth without inviting harm. And that's exactly what hers do. She's open but selective. Open to laughter, to vulnerability, to shared moments that deepen bonds. Selective about who gets to witness those parts of her. She doesn't give pieces of herself away indiscriminately anymore, because she understands how precious those pieces are. Every ounce of energy she invests in someone else is an investment in her own happiness, her own future. So why would she waste it on anything less than extraordinary? Why settle for surface level connections when depth is possible? She doesn't believe in half measures or lukewarm efforts. If you're lucky enough to earn her trust, you'll see just how much she has to offer. But first, You have to prove you're worthy of receiving it. Love for her isn't blind. It's discerning. She loves deeply, fully, unreservedly, but always with clarity. She knows love isn't supposed to leave you questioning your worth or second guessing your instincts. Real love amplifies who you are. It doesn't diminish you. That's why she approaches relationships with intention, choosing partners who match her level of commitment, who meet her halfway, who understand that effort goes both ways. Love isn't transactional to her. It's collaborative. It's two people bringing their best selves to the table. Not one person giving endlessly while the other takes without thought. She gives, but not to everyone. Not out of selfishness, but out of self-preservation. She's learned the hard way that generosity can be exploited if given to the wrong person. She's poured herself into relationships where her loyalty was taken for granted, her effort dismissed as expected, her vision undermined by someone else's apathy. Those days are over now. Today she reserves her gifts, her time, her care, her affection for those who truly appreciate them, for people who recognize the value of what she brings and reciprocate in kind. And oh, does she bring so much to the table? Loyalty that runs deeper than most people will ever experience. Effort that never wavers, no matter how challenging things get. A vision for life that inspires those around her to dream bigger, aim higher, live fuller. These aren't qualities she hides behind pretense or arrogance. They're simply facts. She knows what she offers, and she refuses to dim her light for anyone who can't handle its brilliance. She's done accepting the bare minimum from others because she refuses to give anything less than her maximum. Attention without intention feels hollow to her. Words without actions feel meaningless. Promises without follow-through, those aren't even worth discussing. This kind of woman doesn't need constant validation to feel alive. She doesn't crave noise or chaos to fill silences. Her life hums with richness because she built it that way, with her own hands, her own choices, her own resilience. She finds joy in solitude, comfort in independence, fulfillment in pursuing passions that set her soul ablaze. Touch isn't currency to her. Desire isn't measured by physical proximity. She feels desired because she desires herself first. She feels loved because she loves herself fully. Anything external is just extra. Beautiful, yes, but not essential. If someone wants to step into her world, they must understand this. They won't complete her. They'll complement her. They'll add to the masterpiece she's already painting, not try to repaint it entirely. They'll bring peace instead of drama, purpose instead of distraction, protection instead of harm. She needs a partner who sees her strength and admires it, who respects her boundaries and honors them, who matches her ambition and fuels it. Someone who looks at her life, a life she's worked tirelessly to curate, and says, I want to protect this too. Anything else, she'll walk away without blinking. Because here's the thing, walking away isn't painful for her anymore. It used to be, once upon a time, when she mistook obligation for love, when she stayed too long in spaces that drained her spirit, when she believed she needed someone else to validate her existence. Now, though, leaving feels liberating. It's not about fear or avoidance. It's about freedom. Freedom to choose herself every single time. Freedom to prioritize her peace above all else. Freedom to say, you don't align with my values, and that's okay. I wish you well, but I won't sacrifice myself for you. People sometimes misinterpret her selectiveness as coldness or aloofness. They call her intimidating or unreachable, assuming she's too picky or too proud. But the ones who truly know her, the ones who've earned their place in her inner circle, understand that nothing could be further from the truth. She's warm, generous, loyal to a fault. What she is not is naive. She's seen enough of the world to know its complexities, to recognize red flags before they unfurl completely. She's been hurt enough to learn the importance of guarding her heart, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Her standards aren't there to push people away. They're there to filter who's worth her presence. Think of it like a sieve. Only what's valuable remains. Only those who respect her boundaries, cherish her spirit, and elevate her life make it through. Everyone else slips through naturally, effortlessly, without resentment or regret. It's not personal. It's practical. It's survival. It's thriving. In the end, having standards isn't about exclusion. It's about inclusion. Inclusion of the right energy, the right intentions, the right people. It's about creating a life so aligned with your values that anything incongruent feels glaringly out of place. This woman doesn't build walls to shut people out. She sets standards to invite the right ones in. And once you're inside her world, you realize just how lucky you are to be there. Because being chosen by her, that's not just love, it's legacy. Pakshi knows her worth. You can't shame a woman who's proud of her solitude. You can't guilt her into settling when she knows her worth. There's a quiet power in the way she carries herself, an unshakable certainty that radiates from within. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. She's done the work to understand her value. And once she did, everything shifted. The world didn't change, she did. And suddenly, the rules of the game no longer applied to her. The moment she realized her value doesn't come from a relationship, the game changed. For so long, society whispered lies in her ear. That her worth was tied to being chosen, that love was the ultimate measure of success, that happiness required partnership. But she stopped listening. She looked inward instead of outward, finding answers in the depths of her own soul rather than in the approval of others. What she discovered there was revolutionary. She is enough just as she is. Not enough for now. Not enough until something better comes along. Simply enough, period. This realization freed her. She doesn't need to post selfies with a man to feel loved. She doesn't need someone to check in on her every hour to feel wanted. Validation isn't external anymore. It's internal. It lives in the small sacred moments where she shows up for herself. The early mornings spent journaling, the evenings curled up with a book, the weekends exploring new places alone. It thrives in the way she heals, not perfectly, but persistently in the strength she builds when no one's watching, brick by brick, day by day. This kind of self-love isn't selfish. It's survival. It's thriving. It's choosing yourself over and over again, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise. This kind of woman doesn't cry over being single. She rejoices because being alone has given her the clearest view of who she truly is. Solitude became her mirror, reflecting back truths she might never have seen amidst the noise of relationships or societal expectations. Alone, she learned what makes her laugh until her stomach hurts, what songs make her heart swell, what dreams keep her awake at night. She discovered the things that light her up and the boundaries that keep her grounded. Being single wasn't a sentence. It was a gift, a chance to become her own best friend, her own greatest advocate, her own safest space. And when you know who you are, something incredible happens. You stop entertaining what doesn't deserve you. You stop wasting time on people who treat your presence as optional, your feelings as secondary, your needs as negotiable. You start recognizing patterns before they take root, inconsistent texts, vague promises, lukewarm affection, and calling them out without hesitation. Or better yet, walking away entirely. Because why would you invest in anything less than extraordinary when you've already committed to giving yourself the extraordinary life you deserve? Knowing your worth changes the way you move through the world. It shifts your posture, your tone, your energy. People notice. Some are intimidated. They're used to women who bend, who compromise, who shrink themselves to fit into spaces designed by someone else. But she stands tall, unapologetically occupying her space. She speaks with conviction, listens with intention, loves with discernment. When she enters a room, heads turn, not because she demands attention, but because she commands respect. Respect for her time, her boundaries, her spirit. Men sometimes misinterpret this confidence as disinterest, as if her self-assuredness means she doesn't need them. But needing and wanting are two different things. She doesn't need anyone to complete her. She's already whole. However, She does want companionship eventually, just not at any cost. If someone wants to share her life, they must first recognize her worth and reflect it back to her. They must see her brilliance and celebrate it, not dim it. They must understand that loving her means honoring her independence, supporting her growth, and meeting her halfway. Anything less, she'll pass. Thank you very much. Her worth isn't up for debate. It's non-negotiable. People often try anyway. Friends who suggest she's too picky, family members who hint that maybe she's aiming too high, acquaintances who joke about her standards. But their opinions don't shake her. Why would they? She spent years dismantling the lies she once believed about herself, replacing them with truths she's proven over and over again. She's earned her confidence through hard-fought battles, light breakthroughs, and relentless self-discovery. No casual comment or sideways glance will ever undo that. Sometimes she thinks about all the versions of herself she's left behind. The girl who doubted her instincts, the young woman who stayed too long in toxic situations, the person who mistook obligation for love. She feels compassion for those past selves, knowing how far she's come. But she doesn't dwell on them. Instead, she channels that gratitude into action, continuing to grow, continuing to evolve. Every experience, good or bad, has shaped her into the woman she is today, strong, resilient, unapologetic. In the end, knowing your worth isn't just about saying no to what doesn't align with your values. It's about saying yes to yourself, to your dreams, your passions, your peace. It's about building a life so rich and fulfilling that anything less feels glaringly out of place. This woman doesn't settle because she doesn't have to. She's created a world where she thrives. And if someone wants to join her there, they must bring their best self to the table. Until then, she's content exactly where she is, with herself, for herself, by herself. And honestly, that's more than enough. Aki, she's building, not waiting. She's not sitting around waiting to be chosen. She's too busy building. Her career is climbing, promotion by promotion, project by project, skill by skill. Her body is a testament to discipline and care, sculpted not for anyone else's gaze, but for her own strength and vitality. Her mind, a fortress of knowledge, curiosity, and resilience, fortified by books, podcasts, conversations, and lessons learned the hard way. And her future, it's unfolding exactly as she envisioned, not because fate handed it to her, but because she rolled up her sleeves and started constructing it herself. Her love life isn't on pause. It's just not her only focus. Some people assume that because she's single, she must be longing for companionship, pining away in quiet desperation. But they couldn't be more wrong. She's not desperate to be saved. She already saved herself from toxic relationships, from societal expectations, from the belief that her worth hinges on someone else's validation. She doesn't need a knight in shining armor. She's become her own hero. The cape fits perfectly these days. The truth is she does want love. Of course she does. Who doesn't? Love, when done right, is beautiful. It's connection, partnership, growth. But here's the thing. She won't settle for anything less than extraordinary. Not at the cost of her peace. Not at the price of her dignity. She understands what bad love can do. It can drain you, break you, leave scars that take years to heal. And she refuses to let anyone disrupt the foundation she's worked so hard to build. So she'll wait as long as it takes because she knows the wrong one will cost her years she can't get back. Years spent compromising, doubting, shrinking. No thank you. She's got better things to do. That's why she's patient. That's why she's grounded. That's why she's focused. Patience isn't passive for her, it's active. It's choosing every day to prioritize her dreams over distractions. Groundedness comes from knowing who she is and where she's headed. Focus means keeping her eyes on the prize, whether that's a professional milestone, a personal goal, or simply maintaining the sanctuary she's created for herself. She doesn't fear time. Time is her ally, not her enemy. What she fears is distraction, the kind that pulls her away from her purpose, her passions, her peace. She doesn't fear singleness either. Singleness is freedom, clarity, opportunity. What she fears is being with someone who holds her back instead of propelling her forward. That's the difference between her and so many others. When people ask if she ever worries about missing out, she laughs softly and shakes her head. Missing out on what? Unsettling. On wasting precious energy on someone who doesn't align with her vision for her life. No, thank you. Life is too short to give pieces of yourself to people who don't value them. Besides, she's too busy creating something remarkable to waste time chasing mediocrity. She wakes up each morning with intention, moves through her day with purpose, and goes to bed at night proud of how she's shaping her reality. There's no room for regret in a life lived this deliberately. And yet, despite her laser focus, she remains open to love.